The FDA's booster announcement is considered a major win for the Biden administration. As we mentioned, those in older age groups and other high-risk Americans could soon receive a third dose of Pfizer's COVID vaccine. This comes after intense debates within the medical community. The White House recently voiced public support for potential booster shots for millions of Americans. Weijia Jiang is with me now to discuss this and other news out of the White House. Weijia, it's good to see you. The FDA's approval of the Pfizer booster is under emergency use authorizations, and only some Americans qualify.
Right.
This is a scale back of the original plan. Is there any explanation?
Good morning, Vlad. Great to see you, and good morning to everybody. So the White House would, of course, characterize this as a major victory and a big step forward for the fight against COVID. But there are a lot of questions and criticism from people outside because this is, as you mentioned, very different from what they originally announced, which was that basically the general population, every adult who had been vaccinated, would be able to get their booster shot, whether they had Pfizer or Moderna, starting on this past Monday. Obviously, that did not happen after some health experts within the administration voiced concerns that there was not enough data to support that, and there's still some, contradictory views on how beneficial a booster would be. But still, the White House does believe that this is a step in the right direction because different studies have shown that the efficacy of the vaccine starts to wane over time. But I will say that the big disclaimer that they stressed, even when they rolled out that original plan, Vlad, was that, hey, of course, this is pending FDA approval and science and data could change. And so even though we hope to make the vaccine booster available for everybody starting on September 20th, that may not be the case. And that's where we are today. So now the FDA has approved it, or I should say authorized it for certain groups of people, senior citizens, people who are at risk for developing severe cases of COVID, and people who are exposed to it often, for example, healthcare workers. That doesn't mean it's a go yet. The CDC advisory panel still has to vote on exactly who's eligible, and then the CDC director has to formally adopt those recommendations. But the White House is expecting all that to happen by the end of this week. And because this is not an issue about supply, the supply is there, people who qualify can probably start getting their shots too by sometime today or tomorrow.
That is some good news. Meanwhile, Weijia, on not so good news, President Biden is hosting members from the progressive and moderate factions of the Democratic Party to discuss their domestic policy agenda. How are these conversations going?
Well, the White House says that they went very well, and we did hear from a variety of lawmakers as well who said, that they seem to be making progress, but the bottom line is that it's all about the numbers. And progressives have made very clear, including Senator Bernie Sanders on CBS Mornings this morning. Of course, you guys interviewed him, and he basically said, without explicitly saying, that $3.5 trillion is the lowest that they're going to go, because they wanted a $6 trillion package. That is the Infrastructure Build Back Better Act that we've been talking about, that of course Democrats are trying to pass without a single Republican. Then you have moderates who say, well, that figure's just too big for me, like Senator Joe Manchin, who after the meeting yesterday with the president said that President Biden told all of the lawmakers, just pick a number that you're comfortable with and then come back. Let's try to meet in the middle and get to that number. But both of these sides, these factions within the president's own party, have drawn red lines. Someone has to compromise, and it's very difficult, Vlad, at this point to see who's going to do that. And that is why, I think there's a real concern that this major piece of the president's domestic agenda could fall apart.
And Weijia, I think a lot of Americans were hoping in the wake of the murder of George Floyd and the protests that we saw across the country and, in fact, around the world for civil justice and to protest against police brutality, that the effort, which was bipartisan, to pass a police reform bill would get through. And now we're hearing that it's failed. So what are some of the next steps for the administration to get something enacted? You would think that if you control the White House and you control the Congress, that you might be able to get something like this done, especially if both sides agree that something needs to be done.
Right.
But it doesn't appear to be the case.
That's right, Vlad. That's because unlike that big infrastructure plan that we just talked about, when Democrats can use a process called reconciliation to pass something without Republicans, they can only do that if the legislation has to do with the budget. Of course, police reform does not fall in that category, and so to even get the legislation to the Senate for a floor, yes, Democrats have, you know, a very slim margin, but they need 60 votes to do that, which means they need 10 Republicans to jump on board as well, and they just were not able to do that. But to your original question, there's not much the administration can do except continue to support these efforts, continue to have conversations with various lawmakers, because it failed in Congress. Only Congress has the power to implement real significant federal change. I mean, the president can only do so much with executive order. That's why, you know, he is continuing to push these lawmakers, but this was a huge, devastating setback for the president because he had promised to unify on this very important piece of his plan, which has not happened so far. So I don't know what more he can do except try to convince some Republicans to jump on board, but that didn't happen this go round.
All right, Weijia Jiang for us at the White House. Weijia, thank you.
Sure.